What up, everybody? Going live right now. I think Chase, Isaac, I don't know if they're going to hop on, but maybe that's the case. Man, we got a, sorry, I sound a little sad. We got a really crazy deal that just went down. I mean, obviously the Padres aren't done trading, but looking at this deal, I'm going to pull it up right now. This has to be one of the worst value deals in the history of the sport. It's unbelievable. And obviously, there's a chance that Leo De Vries doesn't pan out and it looks a little bit better. But the process that the Padres just pulled makes no sense. They also just said, it was also just reported that Robert Suarez is not being traded. So the Padres are going all in on a bullpen. But the problem is the thing that makes no sense is that is the least of this team's needs. Forget the value for now. We're gonna start and we're gonna talk about Mason Miller and why he's the best possible reliever you could add. But let's just talk about this Padres team. They have Martin Maldonado as the primary catcher. He's arguably the worst catcher. Him and Diaz are the worst catchers in the league. They're running out random left fielders if it's not Gavin Sheets, and Gavin Sheets needs a platoon bat. You don't need this. You could trade Dylan Cease and make a lot at the market. You could do so many better things with your one prospect that you can truly trade, and you trade for a reliever. Now, I'm going to get to Mason Miller. He's amazing. He has control. Like I said, he's the best reliever you can get. Leo De Vries could very well be a Francisco Lindor-esque player. Let's be honest, a lot of prospects bust. Let's say it's 50-50. Shoot. Let's say it's a 30% chance that he becomes a similar player to Francisco Lindor, maybe a discount Lindor. A reliever's not worth that. There's no way around that. And a reliever, when you have the best bullpen in baseball, when you have multiple pitchers that have been injured this year, when, let's be real, guys, you're not even close to the best team in the NL, and you're going to trade your future away of Leo De Vries for a reliever? Well, what this is one of the worst trades from a value perspective. It's one of the worst trades I think that there is. Like, and I hate to be negative. I feel like I finally was kind of like, you know what, Preller's been putting together some good teams, making some good moves. They didn't just trade Leo De Vries either. Let me pull this up for you. Here we go. Sorry, that's just me, so I gotta get all this stuff going. Sharing my screen. I keep hitting the wrong button. Okay. Let's pull it up. All right. Here we go. Twitter. Full trade. Miller, JP Sears. JP Sears isn't really that great. He's a lefty, though. It's kind of similar to like Perez last year. Leo De Vries, number 3 prospect in baseball. Brandon Nett, your number 3 prospect. He's been awesome. He's ready to be called up to the bigs probably next year. Henry Baez, same deal. He's at a 2 ERA the last 2 years. Nunez also has a lot of talent. So you have 3 pitchers going in this deal. Dude, what are you going to trade now for bats? They just reported the Padres aren't done. The Padres are trying to trade for Stephen Kwan. Okay, like, you're going to go all in this year? I am so baffled by this move. You're trading a guy that he should be in this deal. Look, I'm not the person to be like, oh, Leo De Vries, you can't trade him. You can trade him. That's okay. That's okay to trade Leo De Vries. Trade him for what you need. Shoot, I put up a trade. Look at this. I put up a trade, and everyone said I was crazy for it, where I traded Ethan Salas and Cash Mayfield, 2 lower guys, for Stephen Kwan for a position of need. And now everyone's like, that is the most massive overpay. What is this? This is unbelievable, man. This is like, and I tweeted this out right away. I said, what would this team look like if AJ Preller didn't do this every other year? Think about the guys we've lost, dude. Look at the beginning. You had Trey Turner. You've had so many elite players that have came through this system. The Padres are just like a farm system for other teams at this point, because it's like, let's just sell them for let's do something quick. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, all of a sudden everyone's a GM today, dude. This is trade deadline, man. Like, this isn't like, oh yeah, this is everyone's a GM. No, dude, we know what's going on, man. You've seen trades. You've seen when top players get traded. Guys like Leo De Vries, they don't get traded. The last time we had this trade like this, like a big, massive trade, was when what? I mean, we had Wood. Like, you don't really have this. And I see people talking about in terms of pitching and stuff. Dude, the Padres' strength is their pitching. What do they have in their farm system to offer? They just said they're not trading Suarez, and they might keep Cease. That's the move. So what is going on with their system? They don't have much there. They're absolutely selling their future, and it's like, yeah, I'm so baffled. I don't know. I want to see what I'm going to kind of start reading through the comments on this. And look, you know what? To kind of change it up, I'll show you guys how good Mason Miller is, because I see some people are like, his ERA is not good and stuff like that. Mason Miller's a beast. So let's check him out, because I think that's actually the best thing we can do to cope with this insane move. He has I want to say he's 5 years of control, 4 years of control. Okay, Sears has a couple years of control. That's good too, but it's just unbelievable. Look, the dude's a monster. I will say the other thing is he does have some injury question marks, which makes it absolutely terrifying in this deal. My problem is that you're trading a guy that could be your franchise shortstop for a decade. And I say could be, even if it's 50-50, let's say you have 50-50 shot, he's your franchise guy, for a guy that pitches 60 innings a year. And this is not to discount that the bullpen's important, that the bullpen isn't one of the most important part in the playoffs. But look at the teams that have won and have made the World Series lately, and it's pretty easy to tell that you need a good lineup. The Padres' lineup sucks. Their lineup sucks. Let's see. They have sorry, I just got to update. I don't know how they're gonna keep adding people. Sorry, I'm bouncing around a lot. It's different when it's just me on here. Chase is gonna be joining up in a second, so we'll have him on here. Look, he's the best guy. He's the best guy in the bullpen. He is. I get that his ERA is not that good. He gets a little wild, that actually is concerning. But his fastball slider combo is disgusting. You have a bunch of control with him. He's cheap. He's one of the best arms. But look, the Padres absolutely, no questions asked. They have the best bullpen in the league. They have the best bullpen in the league now. The Mets made some moves. The Mets overpaid. The Phillies overpaid. We didn't just overpay. We traded. This is unbelievable, dude. It's crazy. They just said, yeah. So this dude's a beast. They just said that they're not trading Suarez. The Padres have no plans to trade closer Robert Suarez, and also may keep starter Dylan Cease. So now we have the biggest surplus of. This is what I don't understand, man. This roster makes no sense. AJ's a great scout. He brings in a lot of talent, does a lot of good things. We don't ever get rosters that make sense, man. The lineup, and this is my bigger problem. If they traded and they were doing some moves and they trade Leo De Vries and it's like, oh yeah, they're going all in. I get it. Can you guys seriously tell me right now that the Padres team right now is the NL favorite? Because if they're not the NL favorite, why are you trading Leo De Vries away? That's what I don't understand. If you're trading for a reliever, if it's very obvious that it's an overpay in terms of value, not even kind of close, it's so confusing. It's not over. They could keep adding, but what do they realistically have to add? They're going to completely gut their farm and their depth for the future. You have multiple guys leaving this offseason. You're going to have nothing. You're going to be in a horrible spot. And if the ownership doesn't want to really keep up in this luxury tax, it's the future is going to be bleak, man. It's so frustrating. I'm going to keep kind of going through your guys' comments here. I don't know how they add. This is my problem, man. What are they supposed to do? Look at the lineup, dude. You start looking at the MLB. Let's look. MLB team stats, right? See where the Padres rank in runs. Padres best pitching staff in the league, probably. That's true, right? Okay. What about hitting? How often do they score? In the NL, they are the only teams that they are better than the NL are the Pirates, the Rockies, the Giants, and the Braves. That's not good company. They're one of the worst offenses in the NL. What? If they're not trading Cease and Suarez, they're not getting any legit bats. You might get some platoon pieces and stuff, but this is what you trade De Vries for, to have a really good bullpen, really good starting pitching, and a really bad offense. Dude, that hasn't been how, that's not how you win, man. You have to have a better offense. Unless you just really think that Merrill and Tatis are going to absolutely go on a fully tear, sure. But I'm going to be honest. Where do you rank the Padres right now? Where do you rank this Padres team as it stands right now? They might add, right? Dodgers are a better roster. Phillies are a better roster. Mets are a better roster. Cubs are a better roster. Fifth? That's insane. Like, this is just realistic. I mean, you can still win it, but you're not the best team. You're not the heavy favorite. This screams this team's going to be. What happened last year? What happened last year in the playoffs when your bullpen was money? You didn't score for over 20 innings. What makes you feel that this offense is going to be better, that this team is going to be better? The bullpen is good, but dude, they gave up so much. And the thing is, they didn't just give up. They just didn't give up De Vries. They gave up two guys that are going to be starters probably next season. The A's just got an absolute haul in this deal. So I don't know, man. I honestly, like, my overall take is I think this is one of the worst trades that we've seen. And I've never said that. I was happy about the Soto trade. I feel like we're usually pretty positive. Has this been true lately? Because I see this a lot. Has this been true lately? Let's look it up. Past World Series teams. Matchups. Okay, last year you had the two best offenses in the league. Okay. Two best offenses in the league. Year before, you have the Diamondbacks, who literally had absolutely no pitching. The Rangers had some good pitching, but the Rangers were also just super hot. Their lineup was balling. Phillies, Astros, once again, two super good lineups. The Braves, when the Braves won, the Braves had their lineup was going nuclear. Like, all these teams have really good lineups, especially recently. Back in the day, it was a little bit more, but now, like, I don't know, man. AJ might not be done. That's fair. Look, I'll give you this. AJ, if he's not done, but I don't know what he's going to trade for something significant. It's just oh my God. This is something I've also was thinking about with this deal. The Soto trade someone said the Soto trade was terrible. Look, yeah, I don't think it's going to age that great, but also at this, because James Wood is a monster, but also, like, at the time, it's like, I can get behind trading a guy like Soto. What you're going for there makes sense. This does not make sense. You're trading a number 3 prospect for a reliever. And also, I don't know if anyone in the comments can find this. Has there ever been, what's the biggest trade for a reliever that we've ever seen? Because this is definitely got to be over it. And Mason Miller is amazing, but, like, Mason Miller is not, like, walking into the Hall of Fame at this point. Like, it's not. It's about team control. It's true. Suarez and everyone keeps saying Suarez and Cease are gone. They just said that they're not trading Suarez, and Cease is very unlikely to be traded, which means that you just have so many pitchers. You have so many pitchers, and your lineup sucks. That's more of my, like, I mean, the value on one hand is terrible, but that's the part that okay, AC doesn't know what he's talking about, bro. AC just said that Leo De Vries was not getting traded, and AC just says random things that make no sense. Oh my God, man. Yeah, Abram, dude. Also, oh my goodness. I'm very confused. I mean, maybe the league just thinks, yeah. All right, Chase is about to hop on too. We'll get his thoughts here. I'll stay on for a while too, because we might get some other stuff going on. Yeah, offenses. I'm just kind of reading through, like, yeah, I don't know. This is another thing I'm wondering. Stop acting like AJ won't have another Leo who is 18 in next year's. Not trying to be a hater, but, like, why would you sign here if you're just gonna get moved every time? Yeah. I don't know. I think also, like, to play devil's advocate for, like, what I'm saying, that I believe this was a horrible trade. It is true that the whole league obviously has valued relief pitching a lot more this year than in past years, which I think we're starting to see. Like, dude, have your starter in the playoffs go, like, 4 innings. If they can go 4 innings, give you something good, and you have 5 guys to shut it down, that is awesome. That is a great recipe. But you know what's better? If you have a dude that's playing shortstop, that's a fucking dog, dude. That's what, like, I just, it's rough, man. And maybe the league or AJ doesn't value Leo De Vries like that. Okay, but this just is so confusing. He just said this. So Buster Only just said he predicts this, but then they just said that the package that the Guardians wanted for Quan was De Vries and more, which is a similar package, which once again, I hate that deal. I think that's a terrible deal. But you just traded for Mason Miller for it, who has more control and stuff. Oh my God. How are they going to do it? Like, if they do it, you could have a great team. But how are you going to do it? Also, I see this. Mason will be converted back to. I don't. Maybe, but I think that's more speculation, like fan speculation, than anything else. He's had injury issues too. That's the scary part. Yeah. Oh, the Lynn tweet was about what they asked for him. Man, dude, this is crazy. They're not done with trades. I mean, if they are, that would be if the Padres are done with trades and this is what they did, that would be so baffling because they would be walking the playoffs with half a lineup. And Lynn said that that the Guardians asked for Leo and more. No, yeah, every national reporter saying the Padres aren't done. I don't think there's any way that they're done. That would be even more confusing. I don't know what they're going to do to adjust though. They also don't have, dude. They don't have any bats or anyone in the minors like from the MLB level, which maybe is a better thing just because. Well, this is why I get confused. Like we've seen this team develop pitchers and bring in pitchers and improve them so often where they can't do that with the bats. Don't you want to keep your guy that's like the dude that's like so amazing, like that, you know, the top prospect? I would say that's the guy you want to keep, but I don't know, man. I'm very confused by this, and I see some people are excited about it, and it's a trade deadline. Like I'm not gonna yuck anyone's yum. My honest take is just I think it's a terrible deal. Does it help the Padres? Yeah, but it doesn't help them in their areas of need. It's super risky, and objectively, it's a horrible. Okay, this is interesting. Anyways, I get caught on these comments, man. I get a little. I'm trying to read, and I don't have anyone else here to bounce ideas off of. Oh my God, man, this is crazy. All right, this is interesting. It's more starting pitching stats, but then you have Tommy John, so that makes it a little scary. Let's see how the season ends before we say it's a bad move. I mean, in 20, I mean, like when you made a run in 22, it's like it was a good move, but now you're looking at it and it's I feel like it's not about just this season. That's the problem. That's where Preller seems to get handicapped a little bit, is like the problem is when you always go like World Series or bust in these moves, like all of a sudden you look up and you're like, dude, we had all these guys. We could have James Wood right now. Damn, if James Wood was in the left field, Padres would probably be in first place, probably be the best team in the NL. That's realistic. If they had Abrams, right? Is it worth it sometimes to make a swing? Sure, but you got to take a look and be like, was this trade helping you enough? Is this trade putting you over the top? I don't know. I don't know. Is the Padres bullpen one of the best ever? Maybe. I mean, seriously, like maybe. Awesome. But man, you better add some serious bats. You better add some bats that do some good stuff. But I'm just so confused of why it's De Vries. Like I saw the Mason Miller stuff, and my initial thought was like, okay, what's this trade looking like? This is what I was thinking last night, and I was like, I seriously hope it's not De Vries. That would be terrible. And I had some people that were like, dude, it's gonna be De Vries, that had some like info, not from necessarily the Padres, but just like MLB circles. They're like, no, it's gonna be De Vries. If they're gonna get him, it's gonna cost De Vries because the Dodgers and Yankees can outbid him if it's not. Which is, I was like, oh God. But I was thinking, if you're going to trade for him, it makes a whole lot of sense to trade Estrada and to trade guys like Ned and Baez and Cash Mayfield and give the A's a huge haul of pitching. It is a lot more than that, man. It's not a setup trade. They traded their number 3 prospect, the number 3 prospect in baseball, that's 18 years old, that's flashing 5-tool talent. And it's just like, oh man, dude, it's not a setup trade. They're not trading Suarez. They're keeping Suarez. And if they do trade Suarez, they're not getting anything close to what they gave up for Miller. Miller's great. I'm not going to take that away. Heyman just said Laureano. I mean, Laureano I think makes a lot of sense. Laureano is probably, at this point, probably my favorite guy to do it. To go after. Oh shoot. One sec, guys. I'm sending Chase the code. Yeah, I know Chase isn't happy about it. Isaac is not as. Isaac is not as mad. Okay, let's see. He could fizzle out and not be good. I'm not disagreeing with that, but he's the number 3 prospect. This is the value of it is not even close. People hate this move because you're trading for a guy that pitches 60 innings a year, who even if he does it at the best rate, if you have a starting shortstop, if you have let's say you have a 20% chance that this guy turns into a all-star caliber starting shortstop every year, which I think most people would agree, De Vries probably has a better chance to turn into an all-star caliber shortstop than 20% chance. Like, it's a lot higher than that. Why would you give that up? That's a problem. When your bullpen, if they went and traded right now, I'm trying to think of like a deal, like where it's like, okay, here we go. Obviously, this guy's not available. Like, what would be the best possible move for the Padres to get a guy like Kyle Schwarber, right? Or maybe he's a corner outfielder. He's not available, of course. I understand this. But like a caliber of guy of that, where it's just like he hits nukes. He's amazing. He's really good in those spots. He's a power bat. He fixes your lineup. You can put him at DH. You can put Sheets in the outfield, right? Like something like that, whatever it is. And this isn't like Schwarber's just a random guy that's coming to my head. If you address the exact need, I like that a lot more than going after the bullpen and just like, yeah, we're going to keep getting a stronger bullpen. And a bullpen arm is typically viewed as like the least valuable at the deadline, which this year, I mean, the trades have been absurd this year, but the lineup's just not that good. The only way, okay, I will say this, the only way from a value standpoint, this trade makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense is if they do convert Bobby Miller back into a starter, but I don't think he will hold up as a starter. Yeah, I think he's going to go down with injury. That's the other thing is Mason Miller has a lot of injury history. And here we go. We got Chase right here. Chase, let's hear his thoughts to start out. Some people like it. I said I think it's one of the worst trades of all time. That was my initial take.
I think it's a stupid fucking trade. Okay, let me gather my thoughts real quick. So
yeah,
you gave up your shortstop of the future for a guy that pitches 1 inning. Sure, we have him for the next 4 years before he becomes a free agent. If you don't extend him, whatever. You gave up potentially your shortstop of the future, which we have an aging Xander Bogaerts at, who does jack all plate, except for a couple weeks during the year where he decides to become hot, and 3 pitchers, JP Sears, who's never had a career average below a 4.36 ERA. And I get he's never had a pitching coach like Ruben Niebla. That's going to be some people's arguments. He's a career 4.5, 4.6 pitcher. It doesn't matter how much better he's going to get. Like, it just doesn't make sense. You gave up Leo and 3 pitching prospects for a reliever and a guy that's not even in the rotation. I much rather had Berger or Kolek going out there than JP Sears. I get we needed a lefty, but that's what we do. We give up our shortstop of the future, potential shortstop of the future for that. And here's the one thing, like AJ Preller knows talent. AJ Preller always finds talent and fills up the farm system with these super prospects, gives them away to other teams so that they become stars on other teams. And then we get the shit that nobody wanted during the trade deadline. Just like what's happening right now. Cool. Mason Miller's great. I think he's going to be great. Shore up the bullpen. Fine. I hate that. I think you could have done it in a less expensive way. Because
that's my whole take. And okay, this is what I said too, because I was thinking about it. And a lot of people are like, oh, this gives us, a really good shot. There's 2 reasons, or there's 3 reasons. 2 reasons why I hate it, like specifically, like or 3, I guess. The value, for one, it's very obvious that it's off. Like I don't think anyone is questioning that. Like it's very clear that the value of this, the Padres massively overpaid based on other trades that we see in MLB, despite how good Mason Miller is, how talented he is, whatever. I said the only caveat to that is that if they convert him back into a starting pitcher, you could say the value is a lot better. But it's the same thing like we used to talk about with Morahone, dude, where it's like, oh, yeah, Morahone would be awesome if he could be a starter, but his arm's not going to hold up. That's the same thing for Mason Miller. He already had Tommy John. He's not a starter. That's just, if you make him a starter, you're going to blow out his arm. That's what I honestly think. Then my other thing that I'll say, because to kind of give like your overall thoughts, where do the Padres rank now in terms of a team? They're not going to be able to add some crazy bats or anything like that. Let's just say that they add some okay, solid players let's say at both catcher and left field, which seems, I'm sorry, but that seems far-fetched. So let's say you go add some solid bats right now and you literally completely gut the farm. They said they're going to keep Suarez, so you have the best bullpen in the league. If you keep Cease or trade him, whatever, I don't know. They have like 5 guys now at the back end of the rotation. They have so much rotation depth. They have an absurd amount, right? So let's say that you do that. Where do the Padres rank in the NL? Because I'll be 100% honest. Who has better rosters? Phillies, Mets, Cubs, Dodgers. They all have better rosters, and I do not know how you can argue. Like if you're being objective, can the Padres beat them? Yeah, 100%. The rosters are not as good. They do not have the same caliber of talent. The other issue is that I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. I've been going through it. What's your thoughts on those, though? Because that's kind of my first 2 thoughts.
You still need, like, even if you got a catcher and a left, you still don't have any bench pieces that are worthy to come off the bench and be like a truly worthy at bat to these bullpens. The Mets just traded to have a super bullpen. The Dodgers have a pretty good bullpen. Like the Phillies, they're good. They don't have as good of a bullpen as like the 3 teams that we just listed, but they're still good. But if you're having Trenton Brooks or Bryce Johnson come off the bench, what was the trade? Is it really worth giving up Leo if we only got Mason Miller that's going to be here in the next 4 years? And going back to Fortis, I know I was thinking about it, like going over Xander Bogaerts' contract, but even then, what does every team do with an aging contract that they're not going to be able to play the infield anymore? If there's a spot for it, guess what? You can just hit, it's called DH or first base, because you don't have a first baseman locked up either. So within the next, let's say, it took Leo 3 years to come up, if that. Okay, Leo goes to short, Xander either goes to DH or first. You have a cheap contract that's short and a development guy who hopefully turns into a star. Like the whole problem with the Padres, and I have said this over and over again, we don't ever develop our own talent. We let other teams develop our star prospects. It ended up working out for them. They got these guys on cheap contracts for years, but we get stuck paying the Xander Bogaerts, the Eric Hosmers, that we decided to dish out these giant contracts and for them to be shitting on the Padres. And then we're like, oh, we are going to be over the luxury tax because we have contracts. I know we do. This is why I wanted to keep the prospects and develop them so that way we will always have like, hey, you know what? Maybe we have an aging guy on a contract, but hey, we have this up and comer. He's good for us. Look at Jackson Merrill, how much of a savior Jackson Merrill was last season because he's been good and he's on a cheaper contract. So that way we can go spend money in different areas where we need the depth.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm 100% with you. And I keep saying like, okay, like this is, I think, look, this is true. De Vries wasn't going to be ready to help this core. Preller was in win now mode. Dude, you gotta pick your spots. You got to know where to trade for. You got to know where to address your roster. You got to give yourself a good chance to win. But just going all in every other year, it's not working. It's really not working. They did it in 2020, right? They did it in, dude. Shoot, the best team you had, Chase. Think about it. The best team you had was probably last year. I'm sorry. We talked about this the other day. 2023 was the most talented Padre team ever. They were complete choke artists. They were the biggest failures, like in terms of like winning and stuff. But in terms of the best run, getting hot for the playoffs, the best team you had was last year. They did not go all crazy, all in. What did they do? They made multiple moves to help them. They had Cease. Cease was great. They didn't have to trade that much for him. They traded like nothing for a rise. They go and they get Tanner Scott and Jason Adam. They never made a move where it's like, let's just trade our top guys. Let's go all in. 2020, dude, do you remember that deal? The Clevenger deal? All those deals were horrible. And the thing was, they didn't even get good players. They got Clevenger and Nola. Like, those were the big pieces they got in that year. Like, when they've done these crazy deals, it hasn't worked. One of the best deals the Padres have made, even though every time this dude has a bad outing, everyone's like, he needs to retire. The Yu Darvish deal, they ate some salary. They gave up very little for him. Like, it worked really well. And I know one of the prospects that got moved in that deal is like really good for the Cubs. It's been like 5 years. Darvish has been amazing. That was a great deal. The deals that have worked are those deals. But when every other year you decide, I'm going to go all in because this guy isn't ready to help the core, it doesn't work. And like, what do they have to show for it? It's been a decade. Like, every couple years. I mean, dude, we were in high school. I remember we were in high school. Me and you were in history class when he was going crazy, going, let's trade for Matt Kemp. Let's bring in Will Myers. Do it all. Trade everyone. And then you're like, oh my God, we lost everything. Holy shit. Right? We've seen that so many times where it's like, yeah, this guy isn't ready to help the core, so let's move him. Let's do this. And then 3 years later, we're like, damn, dude, if we had that guy, look at this team. That's what this feels like it's going to be. And I don't know. You also aren't talking about the lockout, but the lockout shouldn't affect a guy like De Vries. He'll be up by that time. He'll be developed. He'll be ready to go. I don't think the Padres had to trade De Vries to go for it. This is another thing. You have to go for it to show the fans. They could have gone for it by going and trading just solid bats to improve what they have. You don't have to like go all in every single time. Yeah, this is the problem. What do we have to show for it, dude? They're not making this team super complete. Preller's not made a super complete team outside of last year when he made multiple little moves. So that's my problem. Yeah, dude, De Vries was the highest ranked prospect trading deadline in 7 years. That's insane. The problem with also I saw this one too. Yeah, you guys gotta wait to judge his trade. He's not. There's no way they're going to be able to trade for Duran or Kwan. There's no way they're going to be able to trade for them. They do not have the prospect capital at all. That's out of the window. It's not happening. And that's the problem. It's like what's the next move? And that's why I don't know. That's why this is so confusing. No, he made big moves, but they didn't trade. They didn't trade like top and highest talented prospect away. They never did. And we talked about the moves. We're like, dude, they're not like the Arise trade. They didn't trade like anything. The Cease trade. Go look at those guys that they trade away for Dylan Cease at this point. It looks like a steal, especially like I mean, maybe not because Dylan Cease fumbled in the playoffs. The Tanner Scott trade. Who did they trade for Tanner Scott again? I kind of forget. I know it was a good trade, but it's like it wasn't this. It was not this. And obviously he was a rental. It wasn't. They didn't trade all the high end guys in the farm. Those are the guys I want to keep. I don't really care about. I mean, like if you're gonna go and trade the farm and stuff, it's like you can trade the little guys, like not the big fish. But this is trading the biggest fish you got, and this is why I don't like it, man. You have a chance to got to be an absolute superstar.
Mazer and Pauly.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't mind that. Like
Pauly wasn't that good in the majors when he had a shot. I think Mazer every up, and then Sterling was a good pitching prospect.
Okay, here's my other one. If they win a ring this year, Miller and Steelers play a big role. No one cares if De Vries has whatever, right? But we've said this every time there's been a trade where it's like, oh, that was a really bad value trade. Like, of course. I mean, shoot, dude, if you go and trade for Marcell Ozuna and he hits a walk-off in every single game of the season, you gave up De Vries for him, you could say the same thing. Like, you can make that case for everything. Oh man, dude, I'm confused. And look, I'm not trying to, like I said this earlier. I'm not trying to like yuck anyone's yum. If people are excited, dude, be excited. I don't want to say it. This is just my honest thoughts on it. And also I'm not trying to like shit on you guys if you're like, I think I'm happy that the Padres are going all in. Like, dude, that's fair. I'm not trying to like talk crap on it, but I just don't. I don't understand.
Fine, the Padres are going all in.
Yeah, I'm
Where's
fine
the
with
bats? Why are we only addressing the pitching part? We could have got Shea Langeliers instead of JP Sears, and we probably would have been a lot happier with the trade in general. We didn't need another starter. We need bats. If we're gonna try to make this deep playoff run, we can't be throwing Maldonado and Diaz at the plate. We need a better left fielder, or we need to just throw Sheets out there every single day. But then who's going to DH?
Yeah, I mean, that's my problem too, is like this screams. I said this at the beginning, Chase, you weren't here, but I was like, what happened last year when you had a much better lineup? You had the best bullpen, right, for the playoffs, and they were awesome and they did great and they shut stuff down, and then you didn't score for 20 innings. What makes you feel that this lineup's better, or has the capital to go make moves to be better and avoid that from happening? I feel like this screams we have someone come in and it's an elimination game and the starter shoves for 4 innings, bullpen comes in, one guy gives up a run and you literally lose 1-0. That's what it screams to me, because what have we seen this year from this team? Like, they got on they're on their 5-game win streak. Before that, it was like, dude, this team isn't that good. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. Like, it was like the offense is so bad. The pitching, unbelievable. The depth, the relievers, the starters, everyone has balled out in the pitching department outside of like Yuki Matsui, right? Like, I'm serious. Like, pretty much everyone else has been amazing. I don't know, dude. It's just, maybe they really do go and they add some other stuff, and it's like, because I see everyone keeps saying that, and it's like, all right, that's fair, right? They go and they add stuff and they have a complete team, sure, and they can get the guys that are under control. That is the other positive about Miller. But it's hard to believe that this isn't too much that they traded for. Also, you brought up the catcher's Shea, the catcher's or the Astros catcher. Dude, that makes a lot more sense too, right? He has control. He's a good bat. If you throw him in with Mason Miller in this deal, I'm feeling a lot better as well. I agree with that, Chase, because you have the worst catching room and the worst left field room. If you're considering,
Actually, no. You don't have the worst catching room. That is the Guardians. When I was looking at trade candidates for catchers, the Guardians have the worst catching room I have ever seen in my life. It was Austin Hedges and someone else that had like a 3 OPS. And Austin Hedges, I think, had like 435. Yeah, it was disgusting. I couldn't believe that was major league catchers.
Dude, apparently one of my tweets is banging right now. I tweeted, this trade makes so much more sense once you realize the Padres have the best bullpen in baseball and multiple holes in their lineup.
You know what's funny? I text my friend who's a Mets fan. I'm like, Preller might be an idiot. And he goes, I'm sorry, that might be the worst trade I've ever seen. Here's my question. For a lot of people that are like, okay, they're going all in. Here's a good one, right? They're going all in. They're going to add more. They're not done. And I think you're right. I want to get a lot of people's comments, because I want to kind of understand where your thought process are at. Let's say they don't get Laureano. Let's say they get like, let's say this is the hypothetical, right? They trade Cease away. Okay. They trade Cease away and they trade Diaz, right? For Caratini and Chas McCormick, guy, right? Yeah.
He used to be a starter for them. He's not that good. If that's the trade, because, and I know it doesn't sound that, and they get a prospect back, right? They get like an okay prospect or a couple okay prospects. But those are the MLB guys that they bring in because they just don't have enough stuff to go do it. How would you feel for people that are like, okay, I get it, we're going all in. How would you feel about this team's chances? I don't feel good. How do you feel, Chase? If that's like what they end up doing? Chas McCormick's not good.
Depth at the plate.
Right?
No, I know Chas McCormick's not good. I was looking at the Astros and everything, and it was not. They didn't have good catchers. Like, even their outfielders, they didn't have a lot outside of Altuve.
No, they don't. That's my problem. Is like, I don't know how the Padres get themselves in a spot where they have, and you don't have to win it with the best roster, but you just made a move to say we're going all in. That's the move. We're going all in. I also don't think that Cease or Suarez are going to get traded. And that's why I'm so confused, man. They don't have the ability to improve the lineup. That's what they need. They need to improve the lineup so much more than they needed to get a bullpen arm. I'm trying to think of like, who would have been a good guy that you would have been fine with trading De Vries for? Jose Ramirez? Jose Ramirez, I would have been down.
Like
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to give it like an idea of someone.
Everybody pulled the trigger on Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, but also Jose Ramirez, you're on a non-contending team and you are under contract for a couple more years. I mean, all right, someone better, someone more realistic, I guess. I'm just trying to think of like you want to trade him for like a star player, Acuna. Nah, I don't know if Acuna is possible.
How long does Steven want?
Well, Ramirez is. Weren't they kind of talking about trading? Not trading Ramirez, but they were like some people were floating the idea that he might be available just because. I mean, the problem is that he wants to be a one-team guy. I don't know, dude. Nick Hurts. Nick Hurts. There you go. I guess Stowers, right? If you trade Leo for Stowers, how do you feel about that?
Stowers, like Quan.
You cut out.
Stowers is up and coming. He's been good. He gives you a feel for the future. I'd be okay. I would be okay with that. Like the whole thing, like if you traded Leo for Quan and maybe a bullpen or a starter there, at least Quan has 3 more years of control. He has 2 years of arbitration after this year, and then I think in 28 he becomes a free agent. So you have him this year, next year, and the year after. But it's one of those things still, like, are you getting the best value for it? Like at least Quan is a good outfielder. He's got a good glove. You're getting with him. He's gonna hit 280, 290. He's not gonna give you the most home runs, but he's gonna give you gap to gap hitting. And he's gonna bring more power than Baez. It fills out the roster more. You have a left fielder for the next few years that's not gonna cost too much. And then hopefully you get another, like you get a bullpen or you get like a low end starter from that.
Yeah.
But
let's pull up JP Sears.
It doesn't make that sense to just go after. Yeah, do you have a Savant? I need to look at it since I woke up.
It's not very good. And he's 29. He's like a low end starter, you know. But I don't think we need any low end starters. That's why I'm confused. Oh, I would have been happier if they would have done the same deal that the Mariners did for Suarez than they did this deal, and just had Suarez DH, dude. Like they need pop so bad, man. Why not deal Ethan Salas? They didn't deal Ethan Salas because he has under 600 OPS in the last 2 years, and he's injured. It's okay. We got Bryce Johnson. Thanks, Ace. Oh man. Yeah, I think this is true. I mean, this is definitely true. I mean, if Sears, I mean, I'm not doubting that Sears can step up. It's just like the Padres have so much depth in the rotation. They need lineup depth so bad. Maybe we're gonna see Berger. Maybe we're gonna see Vasquez and some of these other guys get moved.
But here's the thing with Sears. Sears has never had better than I think a 4.36 ERA.
I don't think he's never had an expected ERA under a 4 either, and his career K rate is pretty low. It's under like it's below average.
3.86 in 2022 when he was switching between starting and relieving. He threw 70 innings, but he still had damn near a 1.3 WHIP.
Also, another thing is his fastball run value is -9, and the dude throws a 92-mile-an-hour meatball. I don't think velocity is everything, but velocity is very important. And in the same deal where you're trading for Mason Miller, because velocity is so important, and you get a guy like this, it's like, God.
He doesn't walk anybody.
He doesn't walk anyone. He's got control, baby. He's got the command.
In the league.
Okay.
He doesn't get people to whiff or chase. He gets barreled and hit hard pretty decently.
All right, here we go. Fans are out here acting like spoiled brats. Leo looks great, but he's one guy. He was never the answer to the entire future. I could say the same thing about Mason Miller, but the difference is that you also gave up other guys in this deal, and I just don't understand. You could also say the same thing about Mackenzie Gore, CJ Abrams, Trey Turner, James Wood. Like we can keep going through. True, bro. I would have loved to do the Josh Naylor trade to get him back in San Diego. Oh man. If they make Miller into a starter, I don't think people realize how likely it is that his arm gets blown out. It's terrifying. You're putting all your eggs in one basket, and the basket's Mason Miller. What happens? I don't know, dude. It's just, and I don't want to like crap on Miller because like he is so good. He is so elite. He's the best pitcher you can get, right? Best relief pitcher you can get.
Like,
man,
look at Jordan Hicks. Look at Jordan Hicks. Jordan Hicks had one really good year as a starter, and then fallen on the table.
Yeah.
I'd much rather keep him as a reliever and get the most value out of him there.
I also see a lot of people talking about like, oh yeah, like it's about going all in and stuff. I mean, it's more about that they need to win so AJ keeps his job, which is like, that is the reality. Which, sure, I mean, you can be happy that they're going to win. I don't know how their lineup's going to get good enough. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're also, Chase, you want to do a stream at 6 Pacific time today?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do it, and the trade deadline ends at 3, so it'll be a few hours. So we'll do another stream later today. We'll do it at 6, just to kind of recap everything post this deal. We'll probably talk about hopefully a bunch of other deals. They got to flip Miller for a bat now, dude. That would be crazy if they traded for Miller right now and swapped him for someone else. Then AJ would just be an absolute madman. Maybe we do flip him in a few years. Oh, man, dude. I'm just confused, dude. I'm really just so confused by this. Also, if they go and get like, if they go and trade a bunch for like Luis Robert Jr., I'm gonna be like, bro, what's happening? The dude, he's not been good. Like he's got talent, but he's not been good. Just give me, dude. Wait, Chase, you actually brought up a good point because we were talking about the deadline plans last night, right? And you said something that I thought was really important. You were like, look at, you can say it, but you remember you were talking about like, look at all the teams that make the big splashes if they ever win the World Series. You want to break that down a little bit?
Yeah, it is.
I feel like that's super important.
Yeah, I always said that. It's not the teams that always make like, hey, we got the biggest pitch at the deadline. It's the teams that shore up every little weakness that they had. They trade for mid to mid-tier, but like mid-tier back, a couple high-end relievers, or even a couple relievers that got like a 3 ERA. They don't take the guys that's having a career year at the bullpen. They take multiple guys with like a 3 ERA, a couple guys with like a 250, 750 OPS bat, and they shore up the entire lineup and the bench so that no matter who is coming up, they'll have a competitive bat. The Padres don't have that.
Yeah.
Also, like,
and they don't do that.
The best playoff runs we had, they have like Branger, Josh Bell, and all them because they actually could hit the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, they had lineup depth, dude. They had depth across the board. So, oh, man. I don't know. I feel like this is what I think. I feel like we got to wait to see other moves at this point.
If this is the only move that we made, then here's the problem. Let's go back to, was it when we were playing the Reds? I forget who we were playing. We put up 11 hits and scored 0 runs.
Yeah.
That is all too possible with
Cardinals.
the current Padres. Cardinals. It was the Cardinals. I was like, I knew it was a red team. But it's all too possible that the Padres can just redo that throughout the entire playoffs. Yeah, might lose a 1-0 game. Congratulations, starters and did their job. But if we can't score runs, who gives a fuck? That's how you win baseball games. Yeah, you can hold other teams 1 to 2 runs, but if the Padres can't outscore that, who cares?
Also, we talked about some of the guys that the Padres have traded. Someone made a list of it. And sometimes they've won these deals. But this one feels a little scary. Trey Turner, James Wood, Max Fried, Josh Naylor, Andres Munoz, Mackenzie Gore, David Bednar, CJ Abrams, Xavier Edwards, Zach Eflin, Leo De Vries, right? And then there's others. But man, also, oh dude, what's the dude's name? He's really good. The pitcher we traded in the Soto deal, dude. He's nasty stuff. We liked him a lot. It's hard with the names of the prospects.
And the Soto deal. I thought it was just Gore.
No, they traded. Let me look at their farm. No, not Gore. Gore. I'm talking about the other guy. He's on the top 100 now. Harlan Susana.
Oh, I forgot about Harlan Susana.
Yeah, dude, he's like a top 50 prospect now, and that's another guy that's going to come up in that deal. The only guy that didn't pan out was the one outfielder.
Oh, Robert Hassel, but he's still on the major league roster, and he's still playing for them.
Yeah, but he's not. He hasn't been too good.
Yeah, dude,
I don't know.
Playing the roster.
Yeah. All right, Chase. You got anything else you want to call it? We'll come back later. We'll come at 6 Pacific time. We'll do another stream to kind of break it down.
Yeah, we'll come back later once I have more time to think about it and see if I probably won't. But there's always that possibility.
Yeah. All right. Well, happy having a chat with everyone. And even if you think the deal's good, it's like I'm not trying to get mad at everyone. I have fun chatting about it. It's fun talking ball. But yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for hopping on. We'll be back at 6 o'clock. We'll see you then. Have a good one. Peace.